Hey everybody, welcome to episode 1 of The Inside. I'm Jay.
And I'm Adam, and we hope you enjoy this as much as we enjoyed making it.
And he decided that as he grew up and his father taught him how to be open to people and learn stuff, that he says, I like country music and I like this. And he says, I'm just a black neck redneck.
Wait, you had like a neighbor named Killer?
Yeah. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Inside, a podcast where we get into the extraordinary minds and experiences of everyday people. I'm Jay, and with me as always is Adam. Hey Adam, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. Actually, it was going pretty good until I tripped my foot over this box I have up in my room. I tore up my toe pretty bad, but say la vie, what can you do? It's just a box full of some college stuff. I don't know. I don't like moving, so I just kind of leave it all boxed up, and it's just out of sight, out of mind kind of mindset, right?
Well, yeah, I guess as somebody who's moved a lot, I just want to say maybe get used to it.
I don't really have that much moving experience. I've moved to college and back, and to and back. And other than that, I've lived here in Raleigh my whole life. But, I mean, you're from Georgia, right? So you moved up here to Western North Carolina?
Actually, I was born in Florida, and I lived in Florida for my first 22 years of life. And I thought I'd never leave Florida, but I did. And so since then, I've lived in a lot of places.
But I bet moving around for real, you probably got to meet some pretty interesting people throughout all your different towns and cities and villages you lived in. Is that the case?
That is the case. One time we lived in a place in South Carolina, which I'm not going to name, but what we discovered is we're not really city people. And so this place is a city. It's probably not nearly one of the biggest ones, but it was too big for us. So then we moved out to a place, in a more rural place in South Carolina. We had a neighbor who went by the name of Killer.
Wait, you had like a neighbor named Killer?
Yeah. No lie. And we also lived in another place. I'm not going to say, but a cult moved in.
What?
Yeah, not long after we lived there, and all kinds of weird stuff happened. And needless to say, we didn't stay much longer. It's a much longer story that I'm not going to go into right now. We have met some interesting people and some really cool people from living in a lot of places. And I just think wherever you live, you get to meet a lot of people like that, especially if you like to
get out and meet people.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds redundant, right?
Yeah.
But like what I was saying, when we lived in Ohio, I got a chance to become friends with a guy named Mo, who was a guy who my wife had been friends with from her younger years, and a coworker of hers. So he's the guy we're going to talk to today.
So I say we go hop off here, go get some natural food stuff, kind of get ourselves all prepped up and ready for this, and then we'll hear what he has to say.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a cleanse or something.
Yeah, with the cult you met.
Oh, God. Yeah, let's take a break.
All right. Well, Jay, I'm pretty excited to bring on our guest today. What about you?
Oh, yeah, I'm super excited because, occasionally we meet somebody in life who, you always wish you could spend more time with. And I don't know, just because, they're super interesting people and, make you laugh and have good stories and stuff. And for sure, this guy is one of those people. Hey, Mo, how are you?
Pretty good. Hey, Jay, what's happening? Hi, Adam. How are y'all doing today?
Pretty good. Man. Thanks for asking.
Having a good day. How about you?
Good. Long day, good day, sunshine, bats, and barns.
I'm sure there's stories behind that.
Plenty, but it's good. I'm glad to be here. Yeah. I'm excited.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, well, Mo, we're just going to learn a little bit about you. Where did you spend your youth?
My youth. Started off in Kentucky, moved to Cleveland, left Cleveland after high school, and I've been in Kent, Ohio since 71. I'm 67 years old, so that's 40-something years.
What brought you to Kent, Ohio?
Kent State University.
And what did you major in?
So I need to be honest. I came here to party. You know, I'm going to say, who is that talking? I came here. I used to come up here in the 60s to buy pot in the party. And so by 71, after the May 4th, I was ready to rock.
So did you actually attend Kent, or were you just there partying?
I partied in the 60s because I was in high school. And then in 1971, when I graduated, I came as a student.
Okay. And you finished?
Yes. 10 years later.
Hey, that's a lot of times that's the best college path. I really think. I know, well, I was one of those guys that took me longer, and I know several people like that. I mean, it's cool. It's your own path.
Oh, yeah, right? It was way good. I learned more about myself and people than I did in the books. You know, learning in the world. And so it was good. I have no regrets. Shouldn't have partied too much, but I've been sober 35 years. So for me, I got it made.
And, you know, you've done a lot of different jobs over the course of your life, like a Catholic school teacher, which I've never heard that story, but like a natural foods baker, mental health worker, food truck operator, farmhand, and other things like vegetarian food and activism and motorcycle rider, mechanic, singer. Like those aren't actually jobs, but like they're all, it's just this huge variety of stuff.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because when I first came here from Cleveland, I was young. I had motorcycles and I didn't work on them. But all the good old boys, which we called redneck at the time, they did all kinds of stuff. They chop wood, carry water, paint their car without a mask on. And if they didn't work on something, they would say, come on over and we'll tinker with it. And then I realized that being a redneck wasn't always saying I'm a racist. It wasn't always a white hood with the cone head or Confederate flag. It was just good old boys. And I started tinkering on stuff, and I started learning stuff, and they started learning stuff from me. And it's like, man, black people aren't that bad. You know what I mean? It's like what we learn on television and see in the media is not who he is, and vice versa. You know, because they got a big old pickup truck and they like to eat deer meat on their pizza and all that nasty stuff doesn't make them a racist. So I had to learn a lot of stuff, and so I've had a good life by making myself a better person. You know, putting all the stuff I learned in Cleveland, some of it was good and some of it wasn't. The street stuff helped me to survive and live, but the people stuff was amazing. And that's what opened up my world to being a vegetarian, hanging out with the hippies, going skinny dipping, which I didn't know what skinny dipping was. I didn't know what cornholing was. Somebody asked me, I want to play cornhole. I was like, man, I will punch you in the face. Because I didn't know, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know. I knew what it was in Cleveland, but it was a game you throw a ball in a hole. And the other cornhole I learned was prison. You know, so it was like, I learned, you can edit that out, but I learned so much stuff when I got here.
You talked about being a redneck, and I was looking on your Instagram, and you have a video. I think you're working on a motorcycle, and you referred to yourself as a as a black neck redneck, and I just was like, man, that's awesome.
Somewhere on Facebook, there was a black man giving a college graduation speech. And he talked about country music and this and that. He talked about his father. I can't think of his name, but it pops up every year. And he talks about the person that gave him the strength to do what he got to do. He learned his biggest lessons from a guy who only had a third grade education, which was his father. And he decided that as he grew up and his father taught him how to be open to people and learn stuff, that he says, I like country music and I like this. And he said, I'm just a black neck redneck because I learned the stuff from the rednecks who I always thought were racist. And for me, it opened me up because I realized I do a lot of stuff. And one time I had a dump truck and I used to take cars in the back of my dump truck to the scrapyard. And this guy, after about 20 cars, he said, how do you get these cars in the back of your dump truck? And I said, well, I got a backhoe. And I lifted up. I lifted up with a chain in the front and I backed the dump truck up and my friend will push it in the truck and we got to synchronize it. Bam. He says, man, you a redneck. I said, I'm a black neck redneck. And he says, it was the car he asked me was a Jaguar, it was beautiful body, but it still had the emblem on it. And, but it was shot. Jaguars are junky cars, I think. And I realized that, and sometimes if I do too many things, it's just way country. I have to go to Cleveland and get some brother points. I had to, because I got too many redneck points. But it's good though. It's good to be open. It's good to learn from everyone.
Yeah.
So that's where they came from. And I'm a ranch hand. We go from 30 something to 40 something horses on a regular basis. And it's fun because I'm not a horse whisperer. If your horse acts up, I'll go to the horse and I'll whisper to it. Not really whisper, but I'll tell it, look, I'm gonna knock you out if you don't act. But I never let the owner hear me because if the horse doesn't want to get saddled or doesn't want to come out of stall, I'll go in there and I go, hey, and then I get up close to it. I said, look, I will bust you in the head. I know you don't want to get busted in the head. And they go, what do you say to him? I said, I got a little magic. And I take it out and they go, oh, he loves you. I go, yeah, nobody wants to get busted in the head. And so I have fun with it.
Well, Mo, one thing is I was wondering what, growing up in that time period, what kind of influence that had on the way your life's been, all these super cool, awesome things you've gotten to do. So what was it like to be in Kent during that time period, especially the May 4th, 1970 event, if you're comfortable talking about that and what you remember personally about that, how that kind of shaped you?
I remember being up there and leaving before the shooting, being up there like way before that happened. And then after it happened, I remember coming to school there. But I remember the president of bus, and I'm gonna quote what he said: "Keep your black asses out of the windows and off the yard." That's a quote. That's not me saying it. And so all the black people got out of the way because we knew we would be targets. It would be, because there was stuff going around all over the country with student unrest and shooting Jacksonville and all that stuff that happened. So because I was in the drug world and wore bell bottoms and had embroidery on my pants, it was kind of good for business to do that. But I also felt the sadness of the students getting killed. And Glenn Frank was one of my professors at Kent State. Glenn Frank, and today his son is one of my really good friends because I met his father first when I was a student, and his father was just one of those professors. I had a couple of them that were really open and knew the struggles that black people had at Kent State and in Cleveland, coming here as a black student. Because and it's funny, Adam talked about that time. He says, how was it there? I remember a professor giving me a low grade on a paper and telling me that a black person couldn't write that well. Mm. And I'm not a great writer. I used to go back to my high school on Fridays to meet with the English teacher that was the so-called mean English teacher that was strict, that I couldn't stand. And he helped me get through college English, how to take my time and do this. And I remember having a meeting with this professor, then leaving her office, going out and getting all my notes and bringing to her and putting them on her desk. And I go, here are my notes. These are the notes I wrote this paper from. And it was like, I write giant, like 2 inches of school, yeah. I write big with a big number 2 pencil or something. And she sat there and went through it and cried because she knew she had did me wrong. I'm so sorry. And I just wanted to elbow her, but I just grabbed my stuff, and I ended up getting like a B or A. She gave me B for black, and I wanted A for Africa. That's what I was telling her. I said, I was a Black United student. I joined Black United Students, and my job was, I was a minister of grievance. So that means if I see police stopping a black student, I would go over there and go, what's the problem? Why'd you stop them? You can't get away from here. No, I'm not. It's a free country. You're going to arrest me? I'm Maurice Drake, Black United Students, da 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 da. Because when I came, there was no more than 2 black students could walk on his campus. If there was 3 or more, bam, they would stop you.
Wow.
And you never hear about that.
Yeah.
You never hear about that stuff. But I came with 600 black kids here, or 400.
So I have 2 questions for you, and they're unrelated. One is about one is about what you're talking about. Just to back up a little, like, you said you came in the late 60s. It's a drug scene, party scene, having a good time. How do you switch? There's a switch that turns there, like from I'm this drug scene, whatever, and now I've changed. I've decided I'm going to be a college student. Those are 2 very different things.
Yeah, they are. I love drugs. My drug of choice was heroin. So it was a gradual switch. Near death stuff, carrying pistols, wearing a mask all the time. I mean, people used to call me Mario. That was my nickname because I sold drugs for certain ethnic people. I got them and so my nickname was Mario. But it's just like I believe in God. I believe there's a higher power. I don't have a certain religion, church I go to. I just believe, and I think that's what saved me. I think that's what, and I did a lot of stupid stuff, but I learned a lot of good stuff. And the best thing I could say for me is that I'm human. I got flaws. I make mistakes. And I can guide myself and I can guide others. I can say, look, if you want my opinion on something, you can ask me that. But my job is with these kids that hang out with me is just to be there for them. I have a lot of kids that were suicidal. And when kids go through the suicidal program through the high school and they go to Children's Hospital, they have to pick 3 adults on their list to talk to. No matter what, you're on call all the time. And I've been blessed to have these kids that trust me, that are in my life. Other people don't know that. They have no idea. Like, why has he always got these kids with him? Why is he, and that's, not all of them are, but most of them are. And working in mental health as long as I had, you see people come in there in crisis that you see in the regular world that you never knew that were walking time bombs. And then you see them again and you act like nothing ever happened. And they know you're doing that. They know that you're keeping their anonymity because we're all fallible. I mean, stuff can happen. We all could break in any minute. And so that switch turned in me because I started learning about who I was. And once you stop getting high, once you start hiding that pain, whatever it came from, and stuffing all those feelings, and you can be with yourself, it's nice, man. You're like fun from now on.
Hey, you know what? I've known you for probably over 20 years now. And unfortunately, we haven't spent as much time together as I would like, just because we've lived far apart. You're somebody who I think a lot of people think of as just like this funny guy, or he's fun to be with, or, you're always joking and making people feel good. But then you turn this other switch on where it's something really serious.
I think the Creator puts people in their life. Some people come and go, but some people stay forever. Like some people are always part of your life and part of your soul. And that, That's like the good part. That's the stuff. And I know I have that switch, and I know I could get you good. And I can also have that crazy street thuggy stuff that I don't like that part of me. But that's the part that we all have, that we protect our families and we protect our neighbors.
One thing that's important to you is being connected to people of different religions and faiths. And we were talking on the phone the other night. You talked a little bit about some people that you're connected to, and I was hoping you'd say a little more about that.
You know what? It's funny. When I got sober, every day I had to do something every day. I had to stay busy. And I hooked up with this family, and they were Jehovah's Witness. And it was the funniest thing because, there's all kinds of Jehovah jokes. I got some Jehovah jokes. And my best friend at the time, his in-laws lived here in Kent. And he says, they're weird, da-da-da-da-da. And he would go over there because his wife was married in that family. His wife's part of the family. But I remember I stopped getting high, and he kept getting high. And he kept doing that life. And on Sundays, I would go to their hall, whatever you call it, and they never try to switch me up or anything. And they took care of me for an hour. I needed that hour certain on Sunday mornings. The Mormons, the Catholics, I can go to every religion. My Jewish friend, one of my friends is a rabbi. During my course of growing up, that's what it is. I wanted to see why people believed in the religions they believed in, and what made them a part of their life. Why God was a part of their life through being Jewish or being a Mormon or being my Muslim friends. I love all my friends, and I'm like so blessed to have so many people that are not just regular people like I am, but people who are really hooked on their religion. Like that's a part of their life. It's them, and then there's their religion, and they could say stuff. And they go, what, Allah says this, or, and even the Latter-day Saints. I can give you crazy stuff that a lot of people say to me, but I like to hear them talk. I like to read their stuff, their Book of Mormon, and why Joseph did this, Joseph Smith, and some of it just don't make sense to me, but some of it really does, because I could hear it in their heart, if they were raised to be that way, and they raised it, but they really believe it. And then they really try all different kind of ways to get me baptized in this church or in that church or this way. And maybe one day somebody hit that spot in me. I love watching Saving Grace. She's a filthy little cop on Netflix or Hulu, one of them. She's just terrible. But she has an angel that hangs out with her. His name is Earl. You know what? I've never been so weepy in my life except during this time. And it's all right to be a little weepy. I don't cry like a girl because I'm not a girl. I don't cry like a baby because I'm not a baby. I cry like a man. When I got sober, I remember going through so much pain, and I would be at home in the darkness just being hurt, and I would cry. And I would sound like the Hounds of Baskerville because I'd be like, ah, and then I'd start laughing. I was like, that's me crying. You know what I mean? We got it made, and people just don't realize how many blessings that we have. And yeah. I like looking at other people and their religion.
You were talking about shows that make you cry. It gets me, the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, one time, I'll never watch it again. I won't watch that again, and I won't watch Glory.
Oh, you know what else I won't watch? The Passion of Christ.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, don't ever. Okay. Don't. It's so painful.
Yeah. But you needed to watch it then. You needed to.
No, I'll watch Shawshank. I love it. I'll watch it like once.
I can't watch that again.
Oh man.
I'll be like, ah.
Well, Mo, what's happening? I was just about to ask you, kind of shifting gears a little bit. I heard that you have run a food truck, a natural foods bakery, and you've even been known to want to take food that the grocery stores want to get rid of and turn it into food for other folks. What's your passion? What keeps you like wanting to feed those people?
Because Adam, I've been a vegetarian 48 years as of May 18th. May 18th, I was a vegetarian. That was my anniversary day. November the 1st was my sobriety day, so that's 35 years. Food is medicine. We are killing each other. We're killing ourselves with this globalization of the food. They can put chemicals, they overprocess, they make all this fake meat that's got a lot of chemicals in it. They make fake ice cream that's got a lot of chemicals in it. They're killing us. My food truck is not done yet. I've had 2 bakeries, and I'm always looking, NPR and Facebook and all this, and I see all these people getting rid of food, throwing food away. And I know that if my food truck was running right now, that I could go and pick up this food that people are getting ready to toss out, and I could make a meal out of it. You know what I mean? I'm not magic. I'm not a chef, even though I won, I don't know how many years ago, but I'm a judge for the Iron Chef that we have in this area. And I won it as a sous chef, helping somebody else out. I go, look, I don't want to do it. I'm not competitive. And the woman said, her name is Molly. She says, Mo, everybody told me that if I was going to win and if I was going to get that I needed you because you have the greatest taste. I said, it's not just a taste. I listen. I take instructions. And we won first place.
Yeah. So Mo, you say it's good to have all kinds of people in your life, and you've positively influenced a lot of super diverse people. But I think that goes back to another thing that you say a lot, and I think you say it differently now, but a lot of times you would say one love. And I think you even have a puppet friend named that. But why is that? Why is that so important to you? What does that mean to you? And has that changed a little bit?
No, it's still the same. It's just that I see so many people using it and not understanding what one love is. Mm-hmm. So I always say big love, but I still believe some of my friends we still do one love because we say it from our heart, because that is what, when this COVID-19 started, this horrible thing, what's going to save people is love and taking care of their body, loving themselves and loving everybody, getting rid of all the negative energy, all this negative thought, and just loving themselves and loving their neighbor and not being evil. And that's what one love is to me now. I mean, it's still the same because we all have, you can give it any kind of name you want for your God or your higher power. It could be a red oak. That is one love. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I know today, when I have a negative thought about anything or past relationships, I can breathe and I concentrate on my breathing. I'm not a meditator. I would like to, but I'm too hyped up. And I know one day I'll get it, but I know that I can breathe and say the serenity prayer or say my name and say that I deserve to be happy and I don't need that negative energy in me. Mm-hmm. And that is what one love is today. It's still the same all over, but as we're all connected, we are all connected. Our ego is the worst thing that we have. Our ego messes up relationships and messes up friendships. Our ego is always in the way. I got a rusty truck. I got old beetle, what do you call it? A 2000. You know what? It's a great gift. I am so grateful. I'm going to probably be living in my bus in a month, but I'm all right with that. All that stuff don't matter. If I die right now, you say, oh, he died right afterwards. You can say, you can say, you know what? And I'll be honest with you. I got a great life. When I get sad for a moment because I know it's not permanent. This is not the end.
Yeah. So how do you, sorry, I'm still laughing about
the podcast killed him. We're so boring.
So what about the puppet? You have a puppet. and his name is One Love. But he's like a mini you, right? He's like a little mannequin Mo.
My friend's mom made it for me, and she's like, she makes puppets for her church, so she's very religious, and she was sad because she thought I was going to be offended because he was so dark.
Oh yeah.
And her daughter says, "You got to be kidding me! Mo ain't gonna get offended. He wanted a new puppet." The bank tellers love him. The bank tellers lose their mind. The bank tellers, when I go to the drive-thru, they go, "Where's One Love?" I said, "He's in the bug." Well, bring him so they can meet him, and then I'll come back.
You know what's funny?
Ahead.
Like, okay, you're talking about that, but okay, it's something about the person who has that puppet, because I could imagine me going through the bank and like trying to pull off the same thing.
Yeah.
It would not work.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like,
yeah, you're going to jail. This is a small town, and as long as people don't know that you're safe, like you can be crazy as heck, and people be afraid of you if you do like go to jail and go to mental health wards for crisis and stuff. But since I worked at all those places, and I know that we're all touched by an angel of some sort or diagnosable, that it's okay. And so the puppet has a history, because I had another puppet long time ago that a friend's mother made, and he looked like Dennis the Menace. So we'll keep that part short. And I had him for 15 years. His name was Muhammad, and I sang at a club, and I was, during the intermission, I was talking to people, and the guy introduced himself as Muhammad. I said, "I have a puppet named Muhammad." And he said, "You can't name an inanimate object Muhammad." And he gave me a story about somebody he knew named their dog Muhammad. They not only killed the dog, but they killed the man too, because they were extremists. And here I am singing at a club. I'm on intermission, and I'm walking around talking to all these people that came to hear me sing. And so immediately I changed his name, because the guy was real nice about it, but he was just saying, "Hey, look, I'm a Muslim. You can't do that." He was real nice about me not getting killed with a puppet named Muhammad. Well, long story short, his neck got elongated, like real bad. The real expensive heads don't do that because they go on a body. And this body is all made into the head. So it stretches, and you really can't fix it. You can't patch up his neck. So I took the old Muhammad to my friend's mom to see if she could fix it. And she gave me the whole history of puppets. And this is how I came up with this puppet. He's a little dark to her, but I mean, she's a white lady. To me, he's cool. I mean, Wesley Snipes, it's okay. It's okay.
And so you use that when you're interacting with kids, or?
I use it anytime, Jay. Like I don't have like I take it to the bank tellers, they're adults. I would take it to the gym sometimes. You have to like work a puppet. You can't just, I'm not real good. My lips move, but I always took it to the school because those kids didn't care. They never looked at me. They always looked at the puppet. Like if you look at them, not one of them is looking at you like, "Oh, your lips are moving."
Well, Mo, before we got on today, Jay told me that you have a saying, most people grow up prejudiced and do not know it. Everyone has it in them, but you don't have to act on it. Could you elaborate some more on that?
That's sort of what I said. It makes sense. We all have this racism and prejudices in them. We get it from our parents, we get it from our neighbors, our families, but we don't have to act on it. And some people think that they're not prejudiced. They go, "I'm not prejudiced. I don't even see." Well, they say, "I don't even see color." Like I dated a woman that said that. I said, "Please don't ever say that." I dated her for 10 years, and it broke my heart because I thought she would understand what that means. Like, does it mean, I'm better than other people because I don't see color? Or does it mean I'm so uncomfortable with your color that I have to pretend like it's not there? But it's there. I got a Chinese trainer. I got friends from India. I got friends from deep Africa, Ghana, and Kenya. One of my best friends now, love her to the max. From the day she was pregnant, I mean, even before she was pregnant, her daughter is a year old, and I send her videos all the time. Now her daughter's terrified of One Love. We don't know why, but she loves me. She'll come into the gym and there'll be a bunch of people there and she stands there and looks for me and she runs straight to me. And she's a little Romanian girl. Her mom's Romanian and her dad's an American white guy.
Don't forget your friends from North Carolina.
Yeah, my North Carolina. You know, they don't, you know, they know I'm black, but I'm still their Uncle Mo. You know, I'm not like people used to say, when you get your food truck, you should there's a picture somebody drew of me. I'm looking like this. And it's kind of cool. She drew it at a party, at a birthday party. They say, you should put that on there and go Uncle Mo's Pea Pie Cafe, which is the name of the bus. And I said, I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to be known as the Uncle Mo like that. I said, because when I see my face like that on the side of a truck, it looks like Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben had a kid and they named him Uncle Mo. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people go, I never thought about that. I said, because you're not black. I don't want to be Aunt Jemima's son. You know, I don't want to be Uncle Ben's little nephew or kid. You know, I'm Uncle Mo. If I was white, I would still be Uncle Mo because I have that, you know, that in me. You know, it's like, I'm like Mr. Safe to a lot of people. Some people let their kids hang out with me and I won't let them. I say, you don't know me. Well, so-and-so knows you and you're good with their kid. I said, but I don't know you and I don't know your kid. If you want to come over and hang out, we can do something. It's great, you know, but I can't just I'm not the Pied Piper and I'm not a pedophile and I don't want to there's so much stuff that happens nowadays. You always have to be safe. You always got to look like I have a godson. He's been my godson since he was 8 years old. He is 31 years old. He is having a baby by with a woman who's from Dominican Republic. She calls me Papa. My son calls me Papa. You have to show that love to everybody and you got to be safe. And she loves me. But at first she was a little, he didn't tell her I was black and he's a white kid. He didn't say my Papa is black. And then when she saw me on FaceTime, you could tell her like, I said, why didn't you tell her? She said, I didn't think it was important, you know? And it's so cool. But
yeah,
and it's funny because, yeah, it's funny how he, being a little white kid and hanging out with me since he was 8, saw how people treated me differently because I was black. A lot of times we go to a movie and the movie would have something like when Cuba Gooding Jr. was a welder underwater.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
It was a horrible movie. Well, it was great though.
Yeah.
And Josh was 12. It was racist. And Josh was 12 years old and he stood up and he was screaming. I said, sit down. You don't do this. I know why they did that. And I go, yeah. And everybody else knows why he did it.
Uh-huh.
How can you put up with it? I'm watching a movie, but you see how it is. You see the difference. And he learned, 31, he knows it's there and he doesn't let anybody get away with it, you know?
Yeah.
And he's a white kid, but I'm the only father he has ever had. We need comic relief. Adam Duke, give me a high five.
Hey, well, the last thing I was going to ask you about, and this is not on the questions, but I wanted to ask you about the pea pie.
Pea pies.
And
yeah.
Because I think for a lot of people, that's what they know you for. And you probably hear a lot about it. Like when I first knew you had the bakery, the purple building down in Kent.
Yeah.
So during that time, you were making pea pies in there, and I remember going in there with Jennifer, and you had the big old mixer and the guts and all this stuff, and it was like you showed us the whole production and everything, and sent us home with like 30 frozen pea pies. And so, it was awesome. And then I think you're selling them out of the food truck, and I think people probably are asking you all the time, like, when are you going to do pea pies? Like, where's the pea pies? Like, for me, like, that's like almost like the thread through your life. And so, like, what's the story with the pea pie? Like, where did that come from? I feel like it's a soul food thing.
Like, You know what? That's funny. We'll talk about the soul food thing. My friend Diane Pirro, she died 2 years ago. She lived in North Carolina, and she had all kinds of jobs, like circus. She was the person in charge of making the routes for circuses, a big circus, and she did that. And she was an accountant. She did that. But one of the things she did, she had a trailer, a food trailer, and she would sell black eyed pea pies. You know, she called them something else, and she sold spinach pies. And I called her. I said, "Look, I got to make something that can put my name on it, because I used to make pita pockets. Take pita pockets and put sprout. You know, I should make. You know, everybody was in alfalfa.
Yeah, those are good.
Oh yeah, I take a pita, cut it in half, and I make my own homemade Russian dressing and Italian dressing. I put cheddar cheese and serve it with organic apple juice, not realizing that I was making everybody have gas real bad, because you're not supposed to eat that. Which, you know, but I didn't know if it was good. People would buy a lot of them. They were $2. I said, I need something I can put my name on it. So she came up with a similar recipe, and she kept sending me stuff, and we would talk on the phone for hours. Nope, I can't put mushrooms in them because a lot of people don't eat mushrooms. I can't put all that oil in there because she wasn't into she wasn't a vegetarian. She was a foodie. She makes greasy, big old white woman to make greasy food, and the workers, the road workers, always bought her stuff. So we finally came up with pea pies, black eyed peas, no mushrooms, with a little bit of olive oil. I put onions, garlic, and I put untold spices because I worked at Kevin Coleman.
Wait.
I couldn't say.
You forgot collard greens.
Yeah, brown rice, green peppers, collard greens. What else? That's it.
Onion spices.
Onions and untold spices.
Untold,
and
yeah.
Untold, because you couldn't say secret, because I would try to get in mental health adults to get help more, and you can't have secrets and get healthy.
Okay.
Your secrets are secrets you keep. So pea pies, and so we came up with that, and I've been doing them ever since.
Wait, and there's a crust. There's a thing that holds all that together,
which is from India. Every culture has a flatbread.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book called Flatbreads of the World, but a chapati is whole wheat flour and water and a little salt. But my chapati has yeast in it because I got to work it more. I got to freeze it and defrost it. A regular chapati would just crumble up. So people from India make them on a beat up hubcap on an outdoor fire. People in other part of the world, in Appalachia, everybody makes a flatbread.
It's like a corn tortilla, man.
Corn tortilla, yeah. So everybody got flatbread. So that's what pea pie started. And I'm not done. That building is gone. That building is a bridge now that's been gone. So now I'm working on projects at a time.
I'll tell you, man, my whole family has them, but my Uncle Mo's Pea Pie Cafe t-shirt.
I need more of them now.
Is the shirt that everyone is like, what is that?
What's a pea pie?
Well, no, not what's a pea pie, but just the whole thing. Like, what's that about? And, and he's like, okay, well, that's my friend. He's in Ohio. Start going through the thing. And then about halfway through, a lot of them are just like checking out.
Yeah,
it's like, okay.
Like, I'm not this interested in the pea pies.
Right. Yeah. I didn't need that much description. Yeah. I'm like, well, hey, you asked me.
You asked.
Now you have to hear the whole story.
Yeah. It's hard to get a short story out of that pea pie shirt.
Well, I think we're at the closeout.
I got to give a gap. Life's too short.
All right. Well, Mo, thank you so much for being on the show today, man. It was awesome having you on.
Thank you. I had a blast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun catching up with you, Mo. Thanks a lot, man.
Okay. Tell everybody I said hi. Big love, one love. Keep hope alive.
Wow, Adam. I feel like I just learned so much about so many different things.
Yeah, I know. You hit the nail on the head when you said he's an all-around great guy. I mean, especially my taste buds are watering about those pea pies he was talking about. Does all this sound good?
Yeah, Unfortunately, he's not making them right now, but it even makes it like more like
desirable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a rare commodity. But anyway, what do you think about it all?
Yeah, I thought it was really funny when he was describing the blackneck redneck, and when he took the junk Jaguar car into the scrapyard in the dump truck, and how he got the car into the dump truck. And I don't know, he's just like the most entrepreneur that I know. What do you think?
I did not know him before this interview, and I'm really fortunate I did, because I think the world would be a lot better if everyone was a little more like Maurice. If people were like
a little more Mo-like.
Yeah, a little more Mo-like, exactly. If people were this passionate about like helping others, like he did with his work in mental health or his food truck, and like his mindset behind all of that, I think we would be kicking butt here on the planet Earth a lot more than we are right now. I really admired his theory that like we're all connected together, and that he's just a content guy and loves people and their values over money, which like you said, Jay, makes him someone you always want to spend more time with. So just getting to talk with him again just reconfirms my thoughts that I wish he was someone that everyone could know. And I hope this helped that a little bit, and we can all be a little more Mo-like as we go forth from here.
Yeah, I just love how open he is to people who are different than him. I think a lot of times we could be so closed off if somebody thinks something differently, or is politically different, or religiously different, or whatever. And I think that takes a lot of intentionality.
It does.
But, yeah. I just, every time I talk to him, it's just a kind of a really blunt reminder for me to be open to people who are different than me.
Yeah, man. Well, I think there's not much more we can do except for going out and be a little more Mo-like ourselves, don't you think?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that was The Inside. Again, Mo's Facebook was Uncle Mo's Pea Pies Cafe. That's Uncle Mo's, M-O-S, Pea Pie Cafe. Special thanks to our guest Maurice Drake today, and our producer Dave. Our title music, Crossroads, was provided by Rock Sounds. We'll have a link in the show description below. Our additional show music was written and performed by Keith Richards. We'll have more episodes coming soon, so make sure to listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at The Inside Podcasters, or send us an email to theinsidepodcasters@gmail.com. Oh, hey, you made a podcast? Oh, you want to hang out? No. Why not? What are you doing?
What's going to save people? Loving themselves and loving everybody. Getting rid of all the negative energy, all this negative thought, and just loving themselves and loving their neighbor and not being evil. And that's what one love is to me now.